What family tradition should forever be forgotten? My family had this sick tradition called birthday lashes. Every year when someone turned older, they'd get whipped with a belt once for every year they'd lived. 1 lash for 1-year-old, 5 lashes for 5 years old, 15 lashes for 15. My grandpa started it back when he was in the army, saying it toughened boys up and made us stronger. What started as light smacks turned into this whole twisted ceremony where everyone gathered in a circle, chanting the numbers, while the birthday kid stood there shirtless. When I turned 5, I cried so hard I peed myself. Everyone just laughed and took pictures. At 10, Uncle Brad used his thick leather belt and left a mark that bled through my shirt. When I was 12, my older cousin Jake decided to add 1 to grow on and whipped me across the back so hard I had a bruise for 3 weeks. I couldn't sleep on my back. But it wasn't just for boys. My little sister Ava got it too, though they told her to wear jeans and a hoodie so it wouldn't leave marks in places that mattered. Nobody ever spoke up about it. Anyone who protested got called soft or weak. My mom would just say, "It's tradition, honey. It builds character." When Ava turned 7, she was absolutely terrified. She spent the week before her birthday throwing up from anxiety. I begged my parents to skip it just this once. Dad looked at me like I'd suggested burning down the house. "This is what makes our family different," he said. "It's what makes us strong." So when Ava's birthday came, I did something nobody expected. As she stood there shaking in the middle of everyone, I moved behind her. When Uncle Brad swung the belt, I stepped forward and took the hit across my shoulder. When Cousin Jake took his turn, I absorbed that one too. Everyone started yelling at me, saying I was ruining it, that I was making her weak, but I didn't care. That night, Ava crawled into my bed and whispered, "I hate my birthday. I wish I was never born." That's when I knew this tradition was completely messed up. A 7-year-old shouldn't hate the day she was born because her family beats her with a belt. Years went by. I moved out for college, then got my own place. I thought the tradition would die with the older generation, but then my cousin Jake sent a group chat invitation. His son Tyler was turning 8, and it was time for his initiation. The message had laughing emojis and said, "Can't wait to toughen up the little man." That's when I completely lost it. I showed up to Tyler's birthday party, but not alone. I brought Ava, who was now 15, and a social worker named Ms. Peterson, who I'd contacted the week before. I told her everything about our family tradition, showed her photos of old bruises I'd kept on my phone, and she agreed to investigate. Walking into that house with Ms. Peterson was like dropping a bomb. The whole family was gathered in the living room, Tyler standing there looking scared while Uncle Brad held his belt. When they saw me with the social worker, the room went dead silent. Ms. Peterson introduced herself and asked to speak with Tyler privately. Meanwhile, my family started freaking out. Dad cornered me in the kitchen, his face red with anger. "You brought CPS into our house? On Tyler's birthday? What the hell is wrong with you?" But then Ava stepped forward. She'd been quiet for years, too scared to say anything. But now she was older, braver. She told Ms. Peterson everything. About the bruises that lasted weeks. About crying herself to sleep after birthdays. About how she used to pray she'd die before her next birthday so she wouldn't have to go through it again. The caseworker took photos of Tyler, who had marks on his back from practice sessions leading up to his birthday. She interviewed other kids in the family. Within 2 hours, she'd documented enough evidence to file a report. What followed was complete chaos. CPS visited several houses in our family. Uncle Brad got investigated for child abuse. Cousin Jake lost custody of Tyler temporarily. The whole family turned on me and Ava like we were traitors who destroyed everything sacred. We got blocked on social media, erased from family photos, uninvited from holidays. It was like Ava and I had never existed. Some relatives I hadn't spoken to in years called just to scream at me. But you know what? I didn't care anymore. The next year, when Ava turned 16, I threw her a real birthday party. I rented a small community center, invited her school friends, bought a huge cake with her favorite strawberry frosting. No belts, no chanting, no fear.